Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Munchauskas. Today's the 27th of July 2018. So welcome everyone, welcome to this last trading day for this week. We're gonna have a quick look at the Today we're going to have a quick look at the main, probably most traded currency pairs. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content of this webinar does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Also, just a very quick reminder of our JFD Brokers website, and specifically if you click here on JFD Research, it will take you to our page which we update on a daily basis. Feel free to check us out. We're planning to release a report soon as well, our everyday morning report. So feel free to check us out a bit later on. But for now, let's have a look at the charts. Now, the first one actually I want to touch on is the index. So let's quickly look at DAX. Now, DAX has finally moved out of this this little range that I was talking about. Actually, this area here between the 12,760 and the 12,470. So we managed to make a move out of it. So we broke this level, this key area of resistance, and now it seems that it wants to continue pushing higher. Now, this is the so-called triangle formation that we got here on this index, on this bigger picture. Certainly, it's a bit of a not a good one. Let's say not a very good example of such a formation, because we do have some good empty spaces here and there. So, but nevertheless, I mean, if this is going to continue pushing higher, if this index wants to continue pushing higher, we could end up moving towards this upper side of the triangle formation, or let's even call it the downside resistance line. So this line has been running here since around the 23rd of January this year. So keep an eye on this, guys. So we could eventually see a move higher here. Certainly either is going to go straight away up here, or it actually could retrace a little bit lower, bounce off of this area approximately here around the 12,760, something like that, maybe just a little bit higher as well, but nevertheless around this area could bounce off and move higher again. So keep an eye on it, keep an eye on today's activity. Certainly we could get some action, and looking at this week, this weekly candle, it has been already very strong candle. So I mean, either this is going to just continue pushing higher towards this line that I was just talking about, or it's actually going to go back down and close below that 12,760 level. So let me just jump into the daily chart back. So if we do get a close here below, now we could see maybe the index kind of trading back down again next week. So certainly for now, let's not over speculate too much on this one. Let's see where it wants to open up. Let's see how the day evolves, and but for you guys to keep an eye on this area, this important area here around the 12,760. If, like I said, this could be the important line or the important area to watch for today, because like I said, if we get a break below, I mean, this could send maybe the index a little bit lower here, initially towards this 50 EMA shown here as the red line, but then maybe even towards some good potential areas of support now around the 12,640. Around that area, guys. This is not exactly the line that to watch, but nevertheless around this area, keep an eye on it. Let's quickly jump into one commodity that I really wanted to show you, and that's gold. Probably everybody likes gold, but to be honest, to trade gold this week was a bit of a tricky one. And just looking at the weekly chart, even though it has been moving lower, still looking at this daily chart, we can see that it was a bit of a choppy session here. Nevertheless, I mean, we can see that it kind of is forming a bearish weekly candle right now, but still Monday kind of opened with a low like bearish candle here, but then we quickly got a doji here on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday we kind of moved higher again. Certainly everything, all this activity kind of still is slightly below this level that I was talking about in my previous videos where I discussed gold as well. So the 1237 continues to act as a very nice area of resistance. So around this 1237, this area kind of is the one to watch, certainly as well for like slightly longer term or near term, let's say, more to be more accurate. So basically, if we would get a nice break here above the 1237, certainly it would become, of course, it could become a bit more bullish because we could probably also see a close above the 21 EMA here shown as the yellow line, but still would probably keep an eye on this long-term upside support line. This long-term upside support line has been running here since around mid-December 2015, so you can see probably the importance of it, and we could eventually test that line from underneath, and then probably maybe we could see let's say if we see a reversal back down and a break below the 1237, now this could turn out to be ugly for this commodity, for this precious metal again. So we could maybe see another slide lower, but that's, like I said, that's what's in regards to, let's say if we get a nice break here above the 1237 and then we find good resistance around this long-term upside support line. If the long-term upside support line gets broken and if we stay above it, then, well, this could look to be more positive for this precious metal, and this could open the path towards this level right here at around 1261. Now 1261 acted as a very good area of resistance around the beginning of July, between the 6th and the 9th of July. So keep an eye on it. Could potentially be a very good area of resistance to watch, but that's only, we'll consider that only if we get a nice close above this long-term upside support line. For now, we're still kind of remaining more to the bearish side, and certainly if we see a move towards this 1215 earlier, before actually, I mean, if let's say if it doesn't decide to move higher here, if we actually reverse here straight away and move lower and test the 1215, well, this is the one to watch, because a break below the 1215 line could open the path towards this key important area of support at around 1205. Now the 1205 acted as a very nice support level here last year, just exactly last year in July. So basically it took a year for gold to kind of, you know, get back to this level, yep, this is the one to watch. Of course, if this continues to, you know, break the 1215 and then continues to break the 1205, now this could turn out to be even more ugly for this precious metal. So, but for now, of course, this is what's in regards for the long term. For now, keep a close eye on these levels here, on the upper side, the 1237, and on the downside, the 1215. So let's jump into a few currency pairs. Now, euro dollar. Now, yesterday, of course, big day for the ECB, big day for the euro dollar, and we can see that the reaction here that we got from the euro dollar, and it was to the downside. We broke this level here that I was talking about, and we broke this 116,800. Let me just jump into a 4-hour chart on this one, guys. And we broke this key level here, and certainly moved lower. And the question here is, are we going to continue moving lower? Judging by this little range that we were in, we could see actually continuation to the downside here, because like I said, this was quite an important range here, and we've broken it to the downside. So this is opening the path towards this level right here, the 115.75. The question is, of course, will we reach exactly that level, or if euro dollar is going to just drop a little bit lower, find its support somewhere around, maybe, I don't know, somewhere around here, and then reverse higher. But for now, guys, of course, keep an eye on it. The first little small support area to watch is around the 116.25 zone. Let me just quickly adjust that, and there we go. That could be the first potential small area of support. But if that doesn't hold, well, I mean, this could open the path towards this level that I was just talking about, the 115.75. So for now, guys, certainly keep an eye on it. If you wanna, you know, just looking even from a shorter term perspective, now if we get a break below yesterday's lows at around the 116.35 mark, if we do get a break below that, yep, this could open the path towards this level here, the one that I was talking about, the 116.25. So keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on the yesterday's low as well. Let's see what it wants to do. If suddenly this reverses back up here and tests the 116.80 mark, now certainly this doesn't mean that it's just going to continue pushing higher, but nevertheless we still should remain cautious here and just see what it wants to do with that level, because if we get a break and a close above this, then, well, I mean, we're back into this little range that we were recently, and we could maybe see another push higher towards the upper side of it. So for now, keep observing. Certainly on the downside, if we get a break here below the 116.35, this is where you could eventually maybe position yourself for a little short. Certainly having your stop loss in place. You know, you could put your stop loss here at around 116.55, something like that. I guess just in case if it gets broken and moves higher, then yeah, you could at least protect yourself this way. But of course, this is just an idea, so keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on these levels. Let's jump into GBPUSD quickly now, and certainly probably there's no point of jumping into the daily here, as you can see clearly what's happening. So we've broken this upside support line, this tentative upside support line. We've broken into the downside yesterday, and now it seems that it wants to move lower. Now, next potential area to watch here is the 130.80, a break of which could send this pair towards this area here at around 130.50. Now, to be honest, well, actually, let me rephrase that, guys. I mean, probably this level now is going to be a bit irrelevant, to be honest, or just for the sake of it, of course, we could keep it. But if we get a break below the 130.80, for us to probably keep an eye on could be this little area here around the 130.30 mark, so something like that, guys. So slightly below the 130.50 that I was just talking about. So keep an eye on this 130.30 mark as well. Could play out as a nice potential area of support. But that's only, of course, if we get a break here below. Let me just quickly highlight that level. So if we get a nice break here below this 130.80, certainly again from the slightly shorter term perspective, you could start looking at already, you know, to the downside if we get a break below the 131 mark. Where yesterday the pair found its support, its nice support. So if we get a break below the 131, this could lead maybe to further declines. Initially, of course, aiming for this 130.80 level that I was just talking about, and then if that doesn't hold, we could end up moving lower. But for us to become more bullish on this one, or let's say somewhat more bullish, we would need to see a nice move here above the 131.30 mark, approximately there, guys. So keep an eye on it. Actually, no, I do apologize, not the 130. I need to readjust this level. Probably keep an eye on this 131.25. Now this is probably could be a bit more accurate. So a nice move above this could open the path towards these slightly higher levels, but then again, still it's at the moment it looks more bearish than bullish. So keep an eye on keeping this in your head. Looking at USDJPY, and USDJPY is certainly having a bad week, but nevertheless yesterday we saw a bit of a recovery here, probably because of the euro weakness here, and then everybody was jumping back in, and yeah, the yen weakness as well. So I mean, everybody was jumping back into the dollar, and certainly at this point we're still more bearish because we're still holding on below this key area of resistance at around 111.40. Now a good break above this, and eventually a break above this upside support line, and a close above this upside support line, this is where the point where we could start examining a lot higher levels. But for now, certainly we either we're going to end up this week trading here within this candle, within this yesterday's candle, somewhere around here, or actually we're going to continue moving lower. We're going to start breaking these lows and push lower. If something like that happens, then keep an eye on the 110.25 level. This area acted as a very good area of support here in the past, well, actually in the beginning of July, so keep an eye on that one. But with the upside scenario I just mentioned, guys, so like I said, for us to kind of become more bullish on this one, we would need to see a good move and a close above, not only above the 111.40, but also above this upside support line. Last one that I really wanted to touch on is the USDCAD. Certainly looking at this daily chart here, we can see that yesterday had a bit of a recovery here, managed to and find its resistance at around this 50 EMA shown here as the red line, but now it seems that it wants to push away, like push back down again. So for us, to be honest, to go more probably bearish on this one, we would need to see not only a good move below this area here, below this one. Let me just kind of zoom in a little bit on this one, to be honest, guys. So put a 4-hour chart. So not only below the 130.50 zone, which is around here, but also probably keep an eye on the yesterday's lows at around 130.200, approximately there. Certainly if this continues to fall, and if we see a fall below the 130.200 as well, this is the point, this is the interesting point where we could start looking at the a potential of touching this upside support line that has been running here since around the 1st of February, and we could see a test of this level as well, the 129.50, and like I said, this upside support line is not far from this line as well. So keep an eye on this, guys. Keep an eye on these levels first. Keep an eye on the 130.50 and then 132.20. Let's see if it wants to break it to the downside or not. But if this, like I said, if this suddenly reverses back to the upside, well, again, this is where we need to put probably a daily chart back on. Keep an eye on this 50 EMA, guys. I mean, we could end up testing that again, but for us to become more bullish on this one, we would need to see a nice break above the yesterday's highs in order to kind of consider a possible move towards the 131.25. Now, a break above that, this key level, this 131.25, could open the path towards higher levels, as we've already noticed kind of the importance of that level at this point in time. So keep an eye on this, guys. Keep an eye on these levels that I was just talking about, and let's see what it wants to do. Okay, I've slightly went over by my video limit, but nevertheless, thank you very much for watching and listening, and thank you very much for staying with me. If you want to join me later on at my Traders Tea Time at 13:15 GMT, 14:15 British Summer Time. But for now, thank you very much, and bye-bye.